Hey guys, how are you today? Quick rant before we dive into today's chaos. As some of you might have noticed, YouTube's algorithm has decided I'm not special anymore. Shocking, I know. So now if you don't like, comment, or do a little backflip in the algorithm's honor, this video might just vanish into the void, never to be seen again. Seriously though, even a hi or "this is wild" in the comments helps way more than you think. It tells YouTube, hey, people actually like this channel. Maybe don't hide it from everyone. That can really help push my videos out to a wider audience, not just to my subscribers. So if you enjoy these stories and want to support the channel, that's the best way to do it. Now grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy the drama. You won't want to miss this one. I, 21 female, have faced the worst punishment for resembling my bio dad. I'm the result of my mom's affair. My mom was married to my stepdad for 10 years. She had 3 daughters, Mindy, 26 female, Cece, 24 female, and me, 21 female. Stepdad didn't know that I wasn't his child. As I grew older, I looked more and more like my bio dad, and my stepdad got suspicious of my paternity. My elder sisters looked like mom, so stepdad never questioned their paternity. But when I grew up looking very different from anyone in the family, he ran a paternity test on all 3 children. Mom's infidelity came out. Only the eldest daughter was my stepdad's, and the DNA for the rest of us didn't match his. Mom then confessed that the fathers of all 3 children were 3 different men. Stepdad served her divorce papers. He gave child support only for his daughter, Mindy. For Cece and me, Mom had to work hard. Mom loved Mindy and Cece unconditionally because they looked like her. She hated me because I uncovered her truth. As a child, I never understood her wrath toward me. She was cheerful and loving with my half-sisters, but with me she would only be grumpy and rude. I don't remember one happy moment with Mom. The sad part was, I didn't know the reason until much later, and when I learned it, I was shattered. The truth made everything much worse. First, it gave me an identity crisis, and second, now I knew the reason for my mom's hatred toward me. But I couldn't do anything to fix it. I couldn't even complain about my mom's indifference toward me. She said Cece's dad and my dad refused to take responsibility, but at least Cece looked like Mom, so it didn't hurt her to provide for Cece. I looked like my bio dad, and it made her resent me. Mom and my half-sisters would gaslight the situation and blame me for their troubled lives. I was belittled openly not only by my mom, but also by my sisters. Mindy called herself the legitimate one. She would call me names and blame me for her parents' divorce. Even Cece would mock me that I looked like my bio dad, and I was the reason that tore the family apart. She was like, "Why couldn't you look like Mom?" That could have saved us from getting abandoned by Dad, as if it were in my control to decide how to look. As a child, I grew up hating myself, hating my blue eyes because they had brown eyes like Mom, hating my nose, hating my lips, hating every bit of my existence. The indifference continued for ages. I hardly got any new clothes. I grew up wearing Mindy's and Cece's hand-me-downs. Mom never bought any new toys for me, and I wasn't allowed to play with my sister's toys. I was the unpaid servant of the house. I had to bring them water and food from the kitchen, drop their plates into the sink, do their laundry, and even make their beds sometimes. The only good thing Mom did for me was send me to school. It was a community school, but at least I got educated. I ran away from home when I was 13, but the cops found me and dropped me back at Mom's. I told them I didn't want to go home, and they wouldn't listen. My mom sobbed in front of them that she was a single mom taking care of 3 daughters, and that I was just a troubled kid jealous of my sisters. I listed all the ways I had been mistreated. The cops asked me if I was physically tortured, and I said no. They stopped noting my words. My mom said to the cops, "See, that's why I told you she is a troubled kid jealous of her sisters and nothing more." They didn't consider emotional exploitation a crime. They patted me, asked me to be a good kid, and left. After that, Mom and my half-sisters started hating me even more because I tried to report them. Staying at home became unbearable, so I took up part-time jobs. I babysat for neighbors, mowed lawns, worked at a video store. Anything to keep myself away from my toxic family. Working outside was better than free labor at home. By then, I had become rebellious. I was earning money. I stopped taking their nonsense. I stopped eating at home and got my own food. Life got better after that because now I could own some of the stuff my sisters had, and sometimes I bought better clothes than them. Cece softened a bit, but Mindy was still terrible. She tore my dresses, broke my makeup, and even threw out my stuff out of jealousy. I had no choice but to stand there and take it. I wanted to save some money and run away from home, but my boss at the video store advised me to complete high school so I could get better jobs. He said his son worked at a recruitment firm and could help me get a sales job after I finished school. So I put my head down and studied for my high school. The day I graduated, I packed my stuff and left. I got a job in sales, and from there, I picked up and worked hard to make a decent living. Mom wanted me back at home. She showed up at my workplace a couple of times and asked me to move back, but I refused. It wasn't out of love. She wanted money. She said that instead of paying rent outside, I could pay her rent and live with them. I laughed in her face. Living there for free was a nightmare. Did she think I'd pay to live with them? I wanted to meet my bio dad, but Mom wouldn't tell me about him. I asked Cece if she knew about her dad. She said Mom told her that her dad didn't want to meet her, so better not to contact him. Mom had told me the same thing. I was suspicious, so I kept pestering her to tell me about my dad, but she's an awful woman and doesn't give in to pressure. 2 years back, she defaulted on her mortgage and needed money urgently. She reached out to me to borrow some money. I said I would give her the money only if she told me who my dad was. She told me his name and nothing more. I asked for his address. She said he didn't want me in his life, so no point in contacting him. I told her I wouldn't give her the money until she gave me the details I needed. She then gave me his address. It was like 30 hours by road, or 2 connecting flights. I saved up for the flight and showed up at the address, only to find it was the wrong address. I went back home and fought with my mom. I told her I would report her for not revealing my paternal details. She told me she was reluctant to give me his address because his family didn't know about me, and my visit would ruin his life. She tried to guilt-trip me into thinking I wanted to be a homewrecker. After a lot of fighting, she gave me his office address, which was 4 hours away, but she kept insisting I not visit him because he didn't want me in his life. "Why do you want to humiliate yourself? He's going to throw you out," she said. I didn't listen and took a bus to his workplace. When I finally met him, the moment was surreal. I didn't have to introduce myself. He saw me and said, "My girl." He hugged me. That was the tightest hug I ever got from a family member. Then I learned something that blew my mind. My bio dad was paying child support all these years. Mom deliberately gave me his wrong address so I wouldn't know the truth. She had been feeding lies to both of us. She told my bio dad that I hated him and didn't want to meet him. It was true that his family didn't know about me. He told me he was married for 40 years and had 2 grown sons. He loved his wife and didn't want to mess things up. My mom used that to blackmail him for money and took child support as well. He said we could meet outside and he could even provide for me if I wanted, but he didn't want to disclose me to his family. I didn't feel good about him not accepting me openly, so I never met him after that. I was disheartened. He sent me several emails after that, but I never responded. Almost 6 months ago, he showed up at my workplace. He apologized and said he wanted to make things up to me. I said he didn't have to do anything. I don't need anyone now. I'm not 13 anymore. He said after meeting me, he didn't feel good about hiding me and confessed everything to his wife and children. His sons are grown up and have moved out, so they didn't mind much. His wife is in shock, and they are seeking therapy together. He handed me a paper, which turned out to be the ownership documents of a mansion. He said that's the only thing he could do to cover up for his mistakes. I asked if his family knew. He said yes. He had paid for his son's college, and they are doing well. He also left some trust funds for them and a house for their mother, and he gave his mansion to me. I was overwhelmed. I didn't know he was well-to-do. I didn't want his money. Otherwise, I would have blackmailed him and extorted money for the last 2 years, like Mom did for 20 years. I told him how badly I'd been treated my whole life because I looked like him. He said sorry for putting me through this. He had no idea what I was going through because Mom fed him a different story. He said he was giving the house to me to secure my future and that he owed me as a father. I was overwhelmed by his gesture. I didn't tell anyone about the house. Lately, I was thinking of getting into college. I always wanted to be a college graduate, but money was a big constraint. Now that I had a mansion, I thought of putting it on lease and using that money for college. That's how my mom learned my bio dad gave me a mansion. She is now running behind me, all set to get a share in that property. She is gaslighting me by saying that she is my mother and that she had to undergo a divorce because of me, so I have to give her a share. When I denied it, she threatened to sue me because she had a right to my bio dad's property. I don't have any understanding of the laws and rules around property and inheritance. I'm guessing she can't have it, but sometimes the law works in a funny way in the States. I don't have money to hire a lawyer until the lease money comes in, so if anyone has any idea about all this, kindly help. Yeah, you can call me dumb, but I need help. Thanks in advance. OP grew up being made the scapegoat and a servant. Now that she finally has security, she should expect the extinction burst. More guilt, threats, and manipulation before it stops. OP should not engage. Gray rock, block if needed, and never meet alone. If they show up at the house, OP should just call police. And now let's hear community's opinion. Leasing the place to fund school is smart. Talk to a CPA about tax implications, rental income, depreciation, maintenance write-offs. Also, price a property manager. Worth it if you're in school. If cash is tight now, ask about a retainer loan or payment plan with a lawyer. Many will do limited scope work. Review deed, draft a no trespass letter for a few hundred. Keep an emergency fund for locks/security/camera system before the first tenant. You didn't cause any of this. Your mom made choices. You bore the consequences. Her demand for a share is just another attempt to keep you small and dependent. Therapy, sliding scale, community clinics can help unwind that conditioning. Practical tip: keep scans, photos of the deed and your ID on your phone plus cloud. If cops ever come because mom lies, you can calmly show ownership on the spot. Short firm script if she contacts you. You have no right to my property. Do not contact me again. Then mute. You're allowed to build a life that's safe and good. Update. Oh, money works in a funny way. By the way, thanks for helping me out. I thought Reddit is for fun, but there are some really amazing people who genuinely help others. Like you all said in the comments, my mom can't claim a share in a house that was given to me by my dad. So the next time she came charging at me for a share, I went nuclear on her. She said she would sue me for this. I challenged her to do whatever she wanted. She cannot do anything except yell. She screamed like a wounded lion. After the last confrontation with mom, there was silence for a long time. I wasn't in touch with them. I sometimes bump into Cece. She works on the same block as me. Seeing how my luck played out for me after meeting my bio dad, Cece also forced mom to reveal her dad's identity. Sadly, her dad turned out to be a German man who had moved back to his country. He used to be our neighbor for a few years and rented a room in a nearby house. He was a student back then and knocked up mom. After he learned mom was pregnant and would ask him for child support, he fled. Cece contacted him through email, and he confessed everything. They are in touch, but Cece is sad she didn't get any benefit after discovering her dad. Makes me wonder if she wanted her dad, or to hit a jackpot. I hired an agency to get me a tenant for my mansion. 6 days back, someone from the agency called me. He said he brought a tenant to check out the mansion, and they found 2 women living there. I was horrified. They said they were the owners, met the tenants, and chased them out. The agent told me he had sent 2 to 3 prospective tenants during the last month, but mysteriously they all ghosted him after visiting the mansion. I asked him to send pictures of those 2 women. They were none other than Mom and Mindy. I rushed to the place, an hour away. Without saying a word, I started throwing their stuff out. They tried to stop me and kept saying, "Wait, we can explain. Please hear us out." I screamed that I didn't want to listen to the squatters. It was 2 versus 1. It's a very peaceful neighborhood. The neighbors heard the chaos and called the cops. I didn't carry the house documents with me, but the agent had a copy, so he showed it to the cops. The cops chased them out, but also asked me to deploy security at the place. I asked if I could get a restraining order against them. The cops said it was not easy because Mom and Mindy had no previous felonies. It was their first-time nuisance, so they could get away with it. I called my dad and told him everything. Of course, I didn't have the money yet to deploy security. He has taken the matter on himself. He said he would install more cameras across the house. There had been just one. He said he would get a tenant for me and that I don't have to deal with it anymore. That was such a relief because I had no idea how tenant agreements worked, etc. I haven't heard from the squatters since then, but let's see how long it lasts. I'm sure they are going to come back. I'll update the thread if something develops, but thanks for putting up with me. Update 2. Hello all. Sorry for not updating often. Life has been busy in college. Yeah, a lot has happened over the last few months. Let me get straight to it. 2 weeks after the last incident, Mom and Mindy showed up at my door again. This time, they looked miserable. They said they were homeless. Mom lost her job, and they defaulted on 2 months of rent, so the owner locked them out. They said they had nowhere to go, so they went to the mansion to live there. After getting kicked out from that property, they had been living here and there, but now no one is ready to let them in. They sobbed and requested me to let them live in the mansion for a month until they put their life together. I was tired after a long day. I didn't want to deal with them. I told them Dad was looking after the property now, and I was out of it, so I wouldn't be able to help. They requested that I speak to Dad and let them in. They pestered me so badly that I lost it. My mom started recalling the favors she did for me. She was like, "I raised you for 18 years. Can't you do this for me? I raised you for 18 years, and this is how you pay me back. This is how you treat your mom who raised you single-handedly?" I screamed back, "Yes, you raised me, but not as a daughter, as a housemaid. I was no more than a servant for the three of you. Did you ever get me new clothes or any stuff? Everything I owned was passed on to me by Mindy or Cece. I always got the leftover food. I survived on stale food from last night while you all ate fresh. If there were 3 slices of anything, you 3 would eat, and I would just get a side salad or the ketchup. I did most of the household chores, yet you never showed any love or care. Even when I was sick, you were mean to me. Only when my condition worsened did you get me over-the-counter meds. Once I even got an allergy because of that, remember? It could have been fatal, and I could have died because of unprescribed meds, but you cared the least about my existence. This is how you raised me. The funny part is it wasn't even my fault. How is it my fault that I look like my dad? It's your fault that you cheated on your husband. You got knocked up by random men and I had to suffer. I gave her the yelling of her life. My blood was boiling with rage. The hatred and pain that had accumulated for so many years came out like a flood. They sobbed at my rant. I broke down and howled. They came to console me, but I shooed them away. I told them to back off. They are the ones who have given me lifelong pain. They were still standing there, thinking I would cool down and give in to their demands, but I screamed at the top of my voice, "Get out! I don't want to see your effing faces." I cried so badly after they left that I felt sick. The next day I went to the doctor, took meds, and rested for a couple of days. 2 to 3 days later I was feeling lethargic and bored. I took my car and went around town for a drive. I passed by my mom's house and found it locked with some of their belongings lying outside. I'm friends with one of the girls in the neighborhood. I called her to ask what happened. She told me my mom had goofed up. She had been sleeping with her landlord, and the owner's wife found out. She came charging at Mom and dragged her out of the house. Mom was not paying the rent for over a year. She was trading it off by sleeping with the owner. It's a small town. Everyone knows everyone's business. I hate to say this because she's my mom, but this woman is such a mess. Anyone reading this would think it's bizarre. Trust me, it's all true. I know this is hard to believe for people with normal parents, but not everyone is blessed with a normal family. There are people like us. As I mentioned earlier, my dad took over the responsibilities of getting a tenant for the house. I used that money to attend college. It's not a fancy one, but I am proud of myself for coming this far in life. Meanwhile, my mom tried to seduce my bio dad, but he chased her out and threatened to report her to the cops if she was ever found near my mansion. I haven't heard from Mom after the last outburst. Cece texts me sometimes. I learned from her that Mindy also abandoned Mom after marrying a guy from the next block. He was a widower with 2 kids but had a big house and some ancestral property. Of course, Mom has passed on her traits to Mindy. Good for them. My sister-in-law resents that me and my husband are mother-in-law's favorites, and as a result, our kids get a lot more than her son. I feel like it's her fault because she has a lot of rules, so why would mother-in-law want to watch her son? I think boundaries are a stupid concept, so outside of don't hurt the children, I don't give mother-in-law rules or boundaries. My husband loves his mom, maybe a little too much. Maybe they are a little enmeshed, but I'm happy for them. I'm pretty laid back. Like mother-in-law was in the room when I gave birth for the first time, and I'm pretty sure she has a key to my house, but it honestly doesn't bother me. In the past, sister-in-law has brought up that she feels like I need to even the playing field. She thinks that I encourage the favoritism, and that for my nephew's sake, I need to stop making my family so enticing. I told her that she has no right to dictate my relationship with my mother-in-law, and if mother-in-law feels like she is too strict with her son, that's their issue and not something to punish my kids for. We had family dinner the other night, and I was returning my mother-in-law's lipstick because she had been laying in my bed the previous day and I found it in the sheets. Sister-in-law thought that was super weird, but she was in my room for a reason, and I always pile clothes on the chair, so I don't care. Sister-in-law said that's weird and no one should be in a married couple's bed. My husband said maybe if she wasn't so rigid, people would like her, and then sister-in-law brought it up again. She said that my husband and I need to create some space and rules for mother-in-law, so that mother-in-law won't be so entitled with her family. I told my sister-in-law to stop worrying about my relationship with mother-in-law and worry about her relationship with her husband. They are in counseling, but I don't know how bad the marriage actually is. She left the table crying, so I kind of felt bad. You're the a-hole, and your husband is the golden child, and the fact that you don't know it and don't care speaks volumes about you. You're the a-hole. For the phrase alone, I think boundaries are a stupid concept. I could go for everyone sucks here because of her pushing, but to be honest, your whole attitude just makes you such a gigantic A that I'm sticking with my vote. You're the a-hole. You just want to make sure you're the favorite, and/or would rather have your mother-in-law raising your kids instead of doing it yourself, and showing them being spoiled is a privilege, not something to be accustomed to. Nieces are between the age of 3 and 6. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law late 30s. Significant other and I are not very close to brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and nieces. Significant other and I are child-free, mid-30s. It's relevant to know my family is white. We recently put together a will and decided to leave our 2 nephews $100,000 each. The rest is being donated to several charities. No one knew about this besides us and planned to keep it that way. Somehow, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law found out we were leaving money to the kids and none to them. This all started when I overheard my sister-in-law say to my brother-in-law that they expect significant other and I to leave 100% of our assets to them and my nieces when we die. They don't have kids, both sides. What do they need it for? They're trying to get my father-in-law to facilitate this conversation. I was livid, but I didn't confront them because what the duck am I supposed to say? Significant other and I saw them at a family dinner a few days after we overheard that conversation. Somehow my brother-in-law brought up that the youngest says the N-word in public, all of the time. He thinks this is amusing. My sister-in-law chimed in and said he makes our jokes around the house in front of the kids. The oldest is picking up on this and started to repeat the jokes. I was floored because this has never come to light in the 10 years I've known them. My sister-in-law says she's not proud of their behavior, but doesn't stop it either. She rolled her eyes when talking about this like it's a dumb quirk. I get a long text from my sister-in-law a few days after the dinner. Basically, she said she knows I'm giving the kids money. She's struggling financially, so we should set up a trust to access the cash now for the kids for living expenses, so they can have the life they deserve. If I loved my nieces, we would help provide. She said if I don't leave money, she's going to tell the kids we pulled their money. It'll be my significant others and my fault they don't go to college, buy a house, or have a good life. I haven't responded. Sister-in-law has always been a jerk to me. I love my nieces, but they're following in the footsteps of my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I'm not saying my nieces will grow up to be R, and definitely don't blame this on them. But hearing 3 to 6-year-olds say R slurs and jokes at this age doesn't bode well. They also live in an area that condones this language and behavior. We were already hesitant to leave my nieces anything, but with the R stuff, the entitlement and threats has made me want to pull the plug completely. I know I can change the will down the road, but I'm just so done with their BS. I feel cornered. Would I be the a-hole if I cut my nieces from the will? Not the a-hole. I would tell sister-in-law, due to current behavior, I'm going to leave the inheritance to charities that help people of color. R is not okay with me, and I would rather not fund that. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law has a lot of nerve to say those things to you. If they're struggling financially, maybe they need to do some courses, find a better job, and work towards a better future. Not expect someone else to apparently provide them the lifestyle she thinks she deserves. Your money and your estate and assets are yours. You can do whatever you like with them. No one else has the right to tell you how to split up your estate. You may want to talk to a lawyer versed in wills and trusts to find out what your other options are, and possibly putting a caveat or something along those lines in place, so that should something happen, your sister-in-law isn't at the house within hours, looting whatever she can get. Just saying, they're 3 and 6 years old. They will likely be so ashamed of how they're being taught to behave by the time they hit middle school. Don't give up on them as people yet, but also don't feel obligated to give their parents money. Do consider helping them get away from that if they're trying to at 18. This year marks the 30th anniversary of my small company. It was founded by my father, who is now long gone. To celebrate, we're throwing a party with all employees, their families, some important customers and suppliers, and also some friends and family members who have nothing to do with the company, but with whom I would like to share this moment. It's meant to be a fun event with food, drinks, and music. I've been divorced for 5 years now, after an 18-year-long relationship. After she left me, I spent almost a whole year being pissed all of the time. Then, after about 2 years of therapy, I think I'm about over it. I basically hated her at first. Then the relationship has become more civil over time, and lately almost, but not quite entirely, friendly. We have 3 teenage kids, and so we see each other often. We also still sometimes celebrate the kids' birthdays together, sometimes having dinner all together. I was discussing with her the logistics of having the kids at the party, and she flat out asked, "Are you inviting me?" I actually thought she was joking at first, but after she asked a couple of times, I said no. I thought that was the end of it. After a few days, I saw her being pissed off at something. I didn't have any time at the moment, so I later wrote her a message to see if everything was okay. Well, it turns out it wasn't. She wrote me a lengthy email stating that the fact that I didn't invite her was a bad move on my part, after everything she did to support me during the years. She says I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for her. Now, I'm not denying that. She was a stay-at-home mom up until the divorce, and I've been working all the time. However, I don't feel obligated to invite her. I'm sure it would be a nice thing to do, having all friends, family members, and so on. But am I the a-hole for not inviting her? I know that there are some people that invite their exes even to their weddings, but most of the divorced couples I know don't even speak to each other. Not the a-hole. Why would she even think she should be invited after 5 years apart? Sure, you were together, but at the end of the day, it's your business and nothing to do with her, right? No. And she's pretty entitled, toxic. To think that she would be invited and telling you it's a bad move is kind of manipulative. It's not a bad move, you just don't want her there. Stay well clear of her as much as possible. My mom and dad split up, but have a good relationship. Could even consider them as good friends. But by no means are they inviting each other to events or anything, unless it involves me, child. Then they put their differences aside. Not the a-hole. It's your party. You can invite whomever you wish. Also, I've also been a stay-at-home mom, and I don't understand how that qualifies as you wouldn't be where you are today without her. Not that I need an explanation. I just don't get it. I can understand that it may sting a bit for her that she wasn't invited, but your obligation to invite her to anything ended when she walked out the door. Some background. I'm 38 male, estranged from my parents and the majority of my siblings. I won't go into details so the post will stay up, but my mom was an aggressive person. It took a lot to cut them off, and I paid a toll. My mother, my stepfather, nor my siblings show an interest in my children's lives. They don't reach out to them, talk to them, spend any time with them. My parents occasionally send my teens. I have 5 children. They only do this for my eldest 2. Birthday money via Amazon, but not otherwise have no relationship with them. There are a few people on my bio side that I do have positive relationships with, and so do my children. I'm very involved in my children's lives. 3 live with me, and my eldest 2 are teens who stay at my place several times a month. I go to school plays, help with homework, am a shoulder to cry on, give advice, play games with them, etc. So my ex-wife, 38 female, texted me for the contact info for my estranged family to invite them to my 18-year-old's graduation party this summer. I made it clear, like I have in the past, that I'm no contact, I don't want them around, and they haven't shown any interest in being around. She insists on doing her part by inviting them anyway, and says if they have no interest, they won't show up. My mother, my stepfather, my sister, and 2 of my brothers that I don't want to be around. The thought of it makes me tremble and have me reaching for a Valium. I let her know if she insists on inviting them, I, my wife, our children, my son's siblings, and my in-laws won't attend. She said so be it, but I'm putting my feelings over my son's celebration and tried to guilt me about missing a huge event for my son. But I know my son isn't insisting on inviting these toxic, estranged family of mine. She is, just so she feels she's done her part, whatever that means. She's going to contact them and invite them with or without my help. I haven't yet talked to my son about this, cause I try not to involve him in family or parenting drama. I've considered a separate graduation party, but I don't think his school friends would be able to go to 2, or the rest of his total family. It would pale next to the real graduation party that I'd be missing in the off chance these people show up. I don't know what to do. Should I suck it up, attend and support, and dip out early with my wife and kids if they do show up? Or do I throw a separate bash? Or do I somehow convince my son to talk his mother out of her invitation decisions? Would I be the a-hole for not going, along with 3 of his siblings and my wife? I'm leaning heavily toward not going. Am I the a-hole here? I think you need to talk to your son about it. You don't have to go into details, but you need to tell him there's a reason you cut your family off. Aggression was involved, and that his mother has invited them knowing full well you won't show up if there's a chance they might show up. He's an adult. Talk to him like an adult. No excuses. No name-calling your wife. Just tell him the truth, and trust you raised a kid who will be more understanding than your ex. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I was gonna say you're kind of an a-hole for not just asking your son, but then it dawned on me. You are being attacked. Your ex-wife knows your relationship. Your ex-wife knows these people's names. There's no legitimate reason for her to bring this into your life. If you're the only source of this information, she should know she has no right to demand it of you. She's had 18 years to get these people's information, and it has clearly never mattered. Yet now, as you transition to a new standard of interacting with her, eldest or teens, about to leave nest, suddenly she needs you to give her info, then agree to suck up your trauma. You're being gaslit, my friend. She doesn't care. She just wants you in this turmoil. My evil side says give in and just give her false information, cause I would get either joy in her coming back repeatedly trying to confirm, or when she never says anything, I would know she knew I knew. Don't be evil, just saying what the devil on my shoulder wants to do. Her part. How was her part inviting her ex-in-laws over the objection of you? If your son doesn't want them there, they shouldn't be invited. But until you actually talk to him about what he wants for the party, then I don't think you can make any sort of decision. I know you said you don't want to involve him, but he's 18 and should have a say in who comes to the party. I, 34 female, am getting ready to leave to India soon for a family function. I have 6 kids, 5 male and 1 female, aged 7 to 13. My entire family lives in India, excluding my sister, female 24, and I. My husband has a good job and makes a very good amount of money, so my family and I all have first-class seats booked. It's pretty expensive, so I booked my sister and her boyfriend Economy Plus instead. I'm also flying out her cats because she doesn't want to leave them. She's financially stable and more than capable of paying for her own trip. But I love my sister, so I wanted to help her out. When I told my sister I paid for her and her boyfriend's plane tickets, she was happy. But when she found out she was in Economy Plus, while my family was in first class, she was livid. She called me selfish for giving her such uncomfortable seats, while my family and I got special treatment. I reminded her that she's in Economy Plus and not regular economy, but she wouldn't listen and kept going off at me. Every day since then, she doesn't forget to leave a message telling me how selfish I am. I honestly am ready to just book her first class. Not the a-hole. When someone buys you plane tickets, you simply thank them profusely. She can book her own first-class tickets if it's important to her. No good deed goes unpunished. Dear sister, I'm sorry my flight arrangements did not meet your approval. Since my offer was not satisfactory, I think it will be best if you book your own flights. Don't back down. You'll be teaching your children the wrong lesson if you cave into her petty and disgraceful behavior. P.S. And you paid for her boyfriend? Not even a fiancé or husband level. Edit. Not the a-hole. Beggars can't be choosers, but sisters can. Not the a-hole, but your sister is. If free Economy Plus tickets are so awful, tell her you will cancel them for her so she can buy her own first-class ones. Then she doesn't have to suffer.